Very good afternoon again. I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much, Dr. Rashid, for having me here. Now, I am not going to talk about technology, and I think there's a lot of domain expertise already in this room who have talked of many specialized subjects. I think we have also seen a lot of passion as well from hotels like Holiday Inn, as well as what individual companies like Grundfos are doing. So what I've tried to do, my endeavor has been to put together a concept of how do we actually make all of this happen? How do we bring all of this together and deliver the results that we need to be able to achieve? Very briefly, just to contextualize the whole thing, the current situation that we are in globally is a result of the last 10,000 years of human influence, which is called the Anthropocene. Basically talking of what mankind has done to this planet to bring the planet to the stage that we are currently in. This is 10,000 years of work or the damage that we are currently seeing. So it's not happened overnight. Obviously, the rapid scale-up has happened over the last few decades. On the left-hand side, you see the socio-economic activities. By far, the biggest influencing parameter has been the explosion of human population. And the moment human population increases, it is by logic that all our consumption, all our demands and our requirements, resource utilization, everything goes up in proportion as well. So population is increasing, resource mining is increasing. We are building more and more dams to tap into freshwater resources, so on and so forth. And because of those activities on the right-hand side, you can see the impact on the Earth systems, where CO2 emissions are going up, ocean acidification is increasing. By far, there is one good news, which is the ozone, the hole in the ozone layer over the southern hemisphere, that seems to be closing, and that's a positive achievement. The other positive thing, according to this graph, is that marine fish harvest is actually stabilizing. Now, that's not necessarily positive news in that sense. It is mainly because of the fact that the marine fish population is actually declining. So there is not much fish to harvest any longer. But by and large, every other parameter is actually, or the negative impact is increasing. So what do we do about all of this? So obviously, it's a very global challenge. One hotel doing sustainability work or shifting a few pumps to make them more energy efficient or consume less energy is not going to change the state of the world. Now, I was asked to talk about smart sustainability, and this is my humble definition of what smart means to me as a practitioner, as a practicing engineer, and as a practicing sustainability, let's say, I won't call myself an expert, but perhaps the longest suffering individual in this field, because I'm working on sustainability for the last over 2 decades since I graduated from the IITs. So for me, no initiative is smart if it is not sustainable. So sustainable by default is a mandatory requirement for anything to be smart. And by sustainability, obviously, we refer to the triple bottom line. Now, increasing focus has always been the environment, but I think there's a gradual shift that I'm currently seeing, shifting from environment to involving people, which is actually the most critical part as far as I'm concerned, even though I'm an engineer. A smart project or smart initiative has to be monitored, maintained, and managed. So you have to continuously keep monitoring the performance of that project, maintain it at that level or enhance that level, and manage it in an ongoing manner. We heard from Ms. Roxanne about Holiday Inn, how we are trying to make people, or how they are trying to make people accountable, and accountability is key. So if you want to be smart, there has to be accountability. If there is no accountability, if there is nobody who's responsible, and nobody who's penalized for things going wrong, things are not going to be smart. And for me, the most important are the 2 elements, which are ranking of the smart initiatives in terms of if I am a smart building, then how smart am I compared to another smart building which is next door, because that is very important. And even though I have become a smart building, for example, how do I keep getting smarter and smarter? And a classic example of that is Dubai Chamber of Commerce building, which has already undergone, I believe, if I'm not wrong, I think 3 rounds of green building certification over the last 10 years, which clearly shows the emphasis and the focus that they have on sustainability as a journey and not just as a one-time exercise. Now, how do we achieve all of this? So is it just do we go and talk to Grundfos and get our pumps more efficient? Or do we talk to Holiday Inn and see what they're doing in terms of recycling? So there are different ways of achieving sustainability. There are certain global ratings or frameworks that we currently use, which have become very popular over the last 20 years. You will see, you have all heard of the US Green Building Council's LEED rating system. We have the BREEAM certification. We have also the latest fashion, which is the well-being or well buildings, which has also actually come out of the US Green Building Council, where the leadership has shifted from green building now to bring in more focus on making buildings more healthy, because the green building traditional rating system or the certification program did not lay sufficient emphasis on making buildings healthy and productive. So that's international. Locally, we have obviously Truckies, PCFC of Jebel Ali Free Zone. They started the first mandatory green building requirement way back in 2007. So that I think was phenomenal, because nobody was talking green buildings here at that time, yet they went ahead and made green building mandatory. We have Estidama in Abu Dhabi, which is also a mandatory requirement. We have recently Asasi, another ratings or certification program, which is obviously, of course, voluntary, not mandatory. And Dubai municipality has launched Safat. I'm not sure if Sharjah has a program already or there is a program in the offing. If I remember many years back, and it has gone into obscurity, Russell Khema Investment Authority had also come up with some green building guidelines. But I don't think that actually translated into reality, but that happened also around the same time as Turkey's. Now, what I observed interesting in this all facet is that the logos of the international frameworks are all circular. And the logos of all the local initiatives are rectangular or square in shape. I'm not sure why this is, but there seems to be some underlying theme going behind that.